Perfect. So can you see my screen?
Yes, it works.
And can you also see it in presentation mode?
Yes.
So, okay, great. Thank you very much. I was already introduced. So my name is Andrea Mosa and I'm working for the European Center for Renewable Energy Güssing. Today I will give you an overview about what we've done in our region to boost the PV expansions through different initiatives at public, private and company level. Just a short background about who we are. So the European Center for Renewable Energy Güssing, in short REBRI. It was founded in 1996. We are a service and consulting company, and we are acting as a kind of energy agency. Why I'm writing as a kind of energy agency is because the province of Burgenland is the only province in Austria without any energy agency, but we nevertheless saw the necessity in our province and our region that somebody needs to act like this, and so we are a kind of umbrella organization of all the energy related activities here in our region. We are also a developer of sustainable regional and municipal energy concepts and energy strategy on national and international level. We are also a network organization and partner in different national and European projects like Prospect, an example, and we are a coordination center in the fields of research, development and project management. So what is this eco-energy land region that I'm talking about and that I will present you today? This eco-energy land is an association of municipalities in the region around Güssing, and it was founded in 2004. Actually, this association covers 19 municipalities with 7,600 inhabitants. And the area is 420 square kilometers. You can compare it with the size of Vienna, let's say, the area of Vienna. And as you also can see on the picture, our area is covered by nearly 50%, so 45% by forest, which reveals a huge potential in bioenergy use. Why these municipalities have founded this association, the Eco-Energy Land, was that they decided to phase out of fossil fuels and to supply themselves by local and regional available renewable resources. So they wanted to get to stop fossil energy import and to produce as much as possible on heat, electricity, and also fuels out of renewable resources that are available. Therefore, the municipalities also joined the climate and so-called climate and energy model region program of the federal government in 2009, which enables them to have a bit of a basis, a finance basis for realizing some energy projects and also for the coordination of energy projects. And in this, we support the overall region and lead this as a model region management. And I am personally the model region manager. So I am coordinating all energy and energy efficiency related activities in those 19 municipalities. So as you saw on the map, we have a huge biomass potential, and we have two main resources in the region. And therefore, we dealt in a first step with initiatives of our first main resource, which is biomass. And I can say we have been very successful in our measures and initiatives because we realized different biomass power plants, biomass heating plants, and biogas plants. As you can see also on the picture. And in the next step, we did some initiatives because we said, okay, we also need to use our second main resource that we have, which is the sun. And we need to develop or elaborate different models and initiate PV measures. What was our approach? Our approach was to divide the initiatives into three areas. So the municipal initiatives, the private initiatives, and the company initiatives. We saw the municipalities as a kind of role model, And we started also with activities and initiatives on municipal level, because there we have the most access to, as we are coordinating all those activities, energy-related activities in our municipalities. Then we develop private initiatives, because we see the citizens as multipliers, and also company initiatives, because we see the company as a kind of, let's say, influencer, so that they want to boost their image by going green or using renewable energy resources for energy production. The municipal initiatives, what we have done, we have developed a public participation model. We have done initiatives for PV installation on public buildings, or mainly public infrastructure like sewage, sludge plants, biomass plants, etc. And what was very important is to really offer them consulting service and to support them in the funding schemes. On private level, we have developed a rooftop program or rooftop programs. We enabled the citizens to participate on municipal projects, so this public participation model I've mentioned before. And here again, very important, we offered consulting service and funding support. On a company level, we developed a special financing model, a rental model, which I also will explain afterwards. And here again, we also offered consulting services and funding support. So now I want to go a bit more detail in our municipal initiatives. This public participation model we have developed and realized. So what was our idea behind? The idea behind was we wanted to create a new investment opportunity for citizens that promises a higher interest rate that the people would get on their bank passbook. We wanted to enable or give possibility to private people to invest into renewable energy projects in their own municipality. For sure, we want to raise the awareness in the fields of photovoltaics. And we also wanted to enable our municipalities to realize PV plants without equity, so without the need that they have to invest something from their own budget. Okay, and yeah, how it works. So the prerequisite for this model is to have a reasonable feed-in tariff available, so that you have a special period where you earn money with selling green electricity out of the PV plant. You need to have suitable public buildings for PV installation. You need somebody that is able to plan the PV plant, calculate the revenue and rates of return. And then you simply have to promote the possibilities that citizens can invest into energy projects in their municipality. How the participation to this model works. So the citizens of the municipality can participate by purchasing shares of the PV plant. So we had the model that one share corresponds to about 1,000 euros. The participation on a legal basis was a kind of silent participation, which refers to the operation of the plant, and thus also in the profit and the loss, if there is some. And the citizens had an annual profit advance of approximately 3 to 4%, so which is much higher than they get on their bank. And after a period of 13 years, so after the feed-in tariff ran out, they get the invested capital back. So it was a quite simple model. They can buy shares, then they receive 3 to 4% of their invested capital yearly, annually, and then after the period of the feed-in tariff, they get their invested money back. And the plant directly goes into the ownership of the municipality. So our model was quite successful. The results have been that we realized public participation plants in 40%, nearly half of the eco-energy land municipalities, with an overall capacity of 400 kilowatt peak. And the largest one, which you can see in the middle, has a size of 170 kilowatt peak that is located, or that was built on a retirement and care center in the municipality of Strem. Then the second initiative, let's call it initiative at municipal level, was on the one hand, again, based on the public participation model. So we said not only public buildings have a potential for PV installation, but we also have other buildings and infrastructure in the public sector. So we have biomass plants with rooftops, we have sewage sludge plants, pump stations, etc. And we wanted to promote also the realization of PV plants on those buildings. One model was, again, to offer this public participation model, which was already successful. And the second model was that we detected one day that there is a possibility for municipalities to combine different fundings or different subsidies or different grants. So it was, I think, in 2013 or something like that, there was the possibility that municipalities get PV investment subsidies from the climate and from the Austrian Climate and Energy Fund of 40% of the investment costs. And they had the possibility to get investment allocation for such projects from the land government, Burgenland, with 50%. So they had overall the possibility to receive grants of 90% of the investment costs. And this was also, again, a booster, let's say, for additional PV installations on public infrastructure, let's call it like this. And we have now, since 2020, this or an equal or a comparable situation again because of the COVID-19 crisis, let's say, because our municipalities get from the COVID-19 investment subsidies of 50% of the investment cost for such energy-related projects or efficiency projects. And there is the possibility also to apply for ERDF funds of 50% of the investment cost. So now, since 2020, municipalities have the possibility to get their projects, energy projects, efficiency projects, 100% funded. Or if ERDF funds are not available anymore, so if the budget is over, they have the possibility to add on to the COVID-19 investment subsidy, a subsidy of the Austrian Climate and Energy Fund of 40%. So they have now the choice or the possibility to get 100% or 90% of the investment costs. What was the result of promoting those possibilities, let's say? We realized PV plants on all sewage sludge plants in our region. Overall, we have 5 plants and 135 kilowatt peak. And we have PV plants on 3 district heating plants with an overall capacity of 155 kilowatt peak. So this was everything, or this was mainly that what we have done on municipal level. Now I will come to what we have done on initiatives at private level. So we have developed a rooftop program, as I've already mentioned at the beginning. The idea behind was that we heard or the companies in our region say, okay, people are increasingly buying different things on installments. They buy a washing machine on monthly rates, etc. So why not to offer PV purchase on installment? So we had the idea to create an offer for citizens to purchase PV plants for a monthly rate of about 50 euros. Okay, we say when we offer PV plant, let's say you get the PV plant and need to pay 50 euros for several time or some years. We saw that this should be quite affordable for the people here. And it is more sympathetic for the people to pay 50 euros a month than to invest 7,000 or 8,000 euros into a plant. So how this model works, we elaborated this installment purchase model, and we called it 50 rooftop program, because we thought, okay, in a region with 19 municipalities, it should be possible to sell, let's say, 50 PV plants. There we cooperated with a local installer and the regional bank, because for sure you need a bank and need somebody that gives you the money for these plants. We decided on a plant size of 3.5 kilowatt peak. That should be a good size for a normal single family house. and we fixed the price for this size of plant with our installer. And after this was fixed, so we had the plant size, the number of plants we wanted to achieve, and the price of the installer. We made an agreement with the regional bank to provide us this overall amount of 50 PV plants with a fixed interest rate over the whole financing duration. This was very important for us because we said the people don't want to have surprises. If we say you get a PV plant of 50 euros per month, it should be 50 euros per month, and it shouldn't be 55 euros in 7 years or something like that. So we said to the bank, we need a fixed interest rate. And this was also very challenging because nobody can say, okay, how the interest rates are developing over the next 10 or 12 years, but we were quite successful in our conversations with them. And the result was that we finally had a PV plant size of 3.5 kilowatt to a monthly rate of 53 euros for a duration over 12 years with a fixed interest rate of 1.8%. And what need the people to do? The people just needed to register for a plant based on a first come, first serve principle. Then we organized appointments with the installer. The people needed to get a positive feedback of their bank, of the regional bank. And then we just could order the plant, and the plant was installed at their homes. The advantages, let's say, were quite clear. So the people just needed to announce the interest, and everything else was organized by us. So we made as I already said, the appointments with the installer and organized everything that they get their money and their fundings and subsidies. Everything was organized by us. And then they just had to pay 53 euros per month for the next 12 years. And a very big advantage was that the PV plant produces from the first day on green electricity at the citizens' homes. So let's say they save from the first day on electricity costs on their bills. So the electricity costs on their bills per month are decreasing, and they pay 53 euros for the PV plant on the rooftop. Yeah, it was. We had a very high demand on this initiative, on this rooftop program, so that it was the need to offer this 3 years in a row. So we offered this in our region in 2018, 19, and 20. So out of this model, we realized 150 PV installations, but they had a quite huge, or this program had a quite huge multiplier effect, because we heard a lot that people saw this in the neighborhood, that they installing PV plants, and the other people followed them. So we cannot precisely evaluate the multiplier effect, but at the end of my presentation, I show you the development of the PV plants, how they increased, and I think the numbers are speaking for themselves. So, and last but not least, I will tell you a bit about our initiatives at company level. So there we have developed a special financing model, the rental model. So how this works? We, or let's say a company, you need a company, an example like a EEE or any PV installing company or energy company, rents a rooftop area of a commercial building or commercial hall for the construction of a PV plant. The commercial company gets a fixed rent per square meters of their rooftop area for a fixed period of time. And this period of time is mainly the period where you get a fixed feed-in tariff. The operating company, EEE or any other PV company, builds this PV plant on the rooftop area. Then the PV plant is operated for the production of green electricity for a certain period of time. So let's say the period of time where we get the feed-in tariff, it is in Austria 13 years. And after this 13 years, the PV plant becomes the property of the commercial company. So it gets directly into the ownership of the commercial company that rents us that rents the company their rooftop of the building or the hall. Yeah, what are the advantages of this model? The company has a positive image from the first day on, so that they are generating green electricity on the rooftops without the necessity to invest in something. The company receives a rent for the rooftop area, so they have a guaranteed rental income for a certain period of time. And after this period of time, let's say after the 13 years of feed-in tariff, there is a direct transfer of the PV system into the ownership of the company. So yeah. And then not only that they own it, they can, let's say 15 to 20, 25 years, they have another income or the income of on the sale of the PV electricity or self-consumption of PV electricity. Yeah, this was about mainly about our main initiatives, let's say, in our region to boost the PV initiatives. And if I can show you now the numbers about the installed PV capacity within the last 20 years, you can see we had in the year 2000 60 plants with an overall capacity of 450 kilowatt peak. 5 years later, we doubled the plants, and so we had the 120 plants with 850 kilowatt peak. 4 years later, we had more than 3 times more, so we had 400 plants and 5.2 megawatts. And if you can see, we started the PV initiatives on public level in 2013. So this was in between this jump of 2000 and 2015. And we started the additional initiatives on private and commercial level in 2018. So this was in between this jump. And you can see that not only the size of the PV plants have increased, but also the installed capacity, which speaks that much more large PV plants have been installed, maybe also mainly based on our rental model and also on the public participation model. And last year, in 2020, we had 460 plants and 6 megawatt peak installed in our municipalities. So yeah, that was it from my side. I hope it was quite interesting for you what we've done at municipal, private and company level. And I also hope that the one or other model is quite interesting also for your company, your region, your municipality. And yeah, feel free to contact me or contact the European Center for Renewable Energy Güssing for any information. And you can also ask me now after the presentation or later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. This was super interesting. I really like the citizens, let's say, approach in a way. In every model, there's some kind of core element, as it should be, I would say. So we can start with the next presentation, where Mr. Andro Bacem will present transition from the feed-in tariff system to the premium model in Croatia. So you can start.
Yeah, thank you, Matija. Hello to everybody. Just a moment. Yes, hello to everybody. This is a presentation on transition from the feed-in tariff system to the premium model, but based on some theoretical approach, not giving any examples in Croatia, as we are mostly still on the feed-in tariff system. But we have introduced the law on renewables in 2015, which prescribes that large-scale installations will go on a premium model, but we are now still waiting for our first auction to be organized. So just a little overview of my presentation today. We will see a little bit of uptake of renewable energy sources in the last period to see what are the feed-in tariffs and what is their impact on mostly on the development of US market. And I will present some market-oriented mechanisms like a premium model, auctions, and net metering model for the small scale installation. So why we want to have renewable energy sources? I think you all are clear with that. Why we need local and clean energy sources. I would say that with the industrial development, there was a very greed from the energy from the main kind, and historically we have used some polluting sources like coal, like oil, or something like that in the past. But mankind has seen that we need to decarbonize energy sector, and first and simplest sector within the energy sector to decarbonize was for sure electrical energy. So, having that in mind, we start to decrease our dependence on fossil fuels and important fuels with the reduction of pollution. Also, we shouldn't forget about some geopolitical situations which plays a big role. However, at the beginning of development of this market was a big question: how we can promote these new, very costly technologies, some new technologies that were not yet very widely accepted. And not only these technologies were new, but they were very expensive to use. So we introduced two ways of incentive. One was investment based, and one is production based. And so yeah, the easiest way to promote the production of electrical energy from renewable sources was the feed-in tariffs. We all know that feed-in tariffs worked well in a number of states. They were first introduced in Germany, and the feed-in tariffs gave I would say wind for the market, the development of renewables. So this is, as far as you all know, this is production-based subsidies, where every producer gets a guaranteed fixed price for their electricity produced in the plant. Not only the price is guaranteed and fixed, the producers in this model, producer has guaranteed access to the grid, which means that all produced electricity must be taken over by the grid, and these power purchase agreements are very long. They typically range from 15 to 25 years, which is actually the lifespan of some US plant if we are talking about the wind farm or photovoltaic system. What's the idea behind the feed-in tariffs is they are not oriented on the market, so they are not coupled with the market prices, but they are in general calculated based on the cost of technology, and practically are coupled with the levelized cost of electricity from each technology on some wider geographical area, such as, for example, one country. if we have some new technologies like in the last 20 years, for example, wind power plants, wind power or solar power, they were in general much higher than the market prices. In some cases, even 10 times higher than the market price. Of course, that provides some impact on the collection of the fees for the feed-in tariffs, but they are generally proven to be good for the market uptake. That we can especially see in decrease of the cost of technology, and I would say that solar PV in this case is a very bright example of reduction of this cost. So these feed-in tariffs could be good mechanism for goals achievement. For example, if the government sees that they are lacking behind their goals, they can increase feed-in tariffs, and they will increase profitability of the project, and of course they will accelerate the market. Also, if this system is let's say costing too much, and if they are on the right track to their renewable energy goal, they can easily decrease the feed-in tariffs for new systems, which will reduce the profitability of the project and reduce the market interest. But still, you have a lot of projects you can have a lot of projects in the pipeline, and that's why in some countries like in Croatia, they are coupled with some caps in the terms of the limited capacity that will be subsidized by the feed-in system. This is mostly to decrease impact on the consumers, as for example in Croatia the consumer actually pays everything. So every fee, every development of the grid, and also the fee for promotion for renewables is actually paid by every consumed kilowatt hour by consumer. With development of technology, the price has been lowered for typical system. So we can see in this upper graph the trajectory of the cost of the PV modules between 2009 and 2018. As we can see, this was some of the timeline where some of the tariffs were introduced, and this was the time of the very high growth of installed capacity in a PV. So with this installed capacity, as we had a learning curve, there were lower the general cost for PV, for example, has decreased over time, and also in these feed-in tariffs follow this decrease in investment cost. And yeah, the PV tariffs have really proven very good for the market uptake, as they are very robust incentive mechanism. They are simple and without any overhead. They gave secure and stable income for the project developers by reducing their risk on the volatility of the market price. They are, as I said, very good for this emerging market. If you want to stimulate to start the market, they are very good. However, they are not market-oriented mechanism, and sometimes they are hard to follow the technology development. For example, in Croatia, government lacked with change of the with decrease of the feed-in tariffs, which gave very high interest, very high internal rate of returns for the for PV. They tend to increase the cost of electricity for final consumer, and they also distort, especially if we are talking about large-scale projects like wind farms. They tend to distort wholesale electricity prices. So what was the idea behind the shift towards the market is that this guaranteed fixed price for renewables distorts their market relations, as they have some privileged position on the market, and many market players see that as only temporary measure for introduction and for higher for introduction of renewables on the market. Clearly, this could work. The feed-in tariffs could work only if the RES share is low, is something below some tenths of the share in total electricity mix. But we want to have 100% of renewables. So we have to put them on the market, and if they were developed by the feed-in tariffs, then we expect them to be mature technology enough that doesn't need any substitute for the market, which is in some ways true, but also for some projects, their levelized cost of electricity is still above the market price, especially, for example, in this COVID-19 situation. So what we also expect that electricity prices will only go up, but this, of course, didn't happen in the past. So first shift towards markets were the green certificate, which were actually some are additional bonuses, as they are tradable commodity that they are proving that some certain share is generated using renewable energy sources, and some of the suppliers like to have them in their portfolio. But actually, what the mechanism that goes behind that follows the feed-in tariffs are actually market premiums and our auctions, which tend to further the decrease of electricity prices for renewable energy sources, and also closing the gap to the market. So let's see what's the market premium. As we all know, market premium is a premium for generated RES electricity, which adds over the market prices. And now the RES, the plant's actual income depends on the market price. Also, there is a public tender or auction tenders for the award of the premium, which further stimulate the developers to bid with something lower prices, just to get their premium, and they can start developing their project. In this case, risk of price volatility is in general on RES developer, and this system has a lower impact on the system, because now the subsidies, the amount of subsidies which market operators have to plan in their annual tranches is not dependent on the market price variations, and overall this level of subsidies can be more accurately predicted. It is also good to say that in general, in some systems, RES operator can sign PPA with any market player. So actually, they can sign a contract for PPA with some supplier, even for the prices that are higher on the market, and the market premium will be paid by the market operator. So let's see in this graph what is the difference between feed-in tariff. So feed-in tariff is this red line above, and it's, as you can see, it's a constant over time. It doesn't depend on the electricity price of the market, which is this red line below. If we have a fixed premium, which is actually just added premium on the market price, general payments for the RES plant will be based on the electricity price as presented with this yellow line with the circles. And now we can see that if the market price goes down, this will fall. They will follow it. We now have to here some extremes, and some of the market premium systems have mechanisms, for example, floor and cap price, which they define minimum price and maximum price for grid, for electricity, and also for premium. So reducing risks of the very low or even negative electricity price, and that's they are reducing the risk on the side of the developer, but also reducing risk on the side of the market operator if this price has gone up. I mentioned auctions. Auctions or tenders are tenders for the award of the premium, where most of the RES project developers bid with their wanted price of electricity. This is pay as a bid system, for example, where the developers place their bid for electricity price or for the premium, depends on the market. So in this case, developers have two goals. One is to be in this cap where they will actually receive premium, so they wouldn't go with some high or unrealistic level of premiums, but they also want to have their project profitable. So they bid with their electricity price, and depending on the cap, which is defined by the, for example, market operator or by the government, once the total bids are sorted from the lowest to highest, and then depending either the cap sometimes is in the terms of megawatt, in the terms of installed capacity, or in the terms of plant energy production, they are they are awarded that premium. So you can say this is something that's really something that's the auto-regulated mechanism for the prices, as developers will surely bid with prices that's feasible for their project, but they will be very careful on that. And what we can see is that in general auctions for the feed-in premium had decreased average price of renewable project. This is because of the impact of this bidding process, where the lowest price wins, and you always have from time to time you have a selection of these projects with the lowest price, and this actually reduces cost for the system, and in this sense, economically better projects go first. For example, if you have a big power plant which is situated on a very good site in terms of resources, but you are far away from the grid, then it's maybe better to select some location with something lower potential, but closer to the grid, and these projects will probably be economically better. This is clearly shown on this graph. As you can see, this yellow line is a bid for solar power, and we can see that with the introduction of auctions, these prices have gone down, especially for solar. For wind, it stays on the similar level. But yeah, we have come that one of the main issues for solar development, for solar photovoltaics, are small scale systems. How we can put small scale system on the market? Can we put some small scale PV plants to fit on the market? Well, surely not. So many countries introduced the premium system for the large scale power projects, but for these small scale projects, there is still some form of the either feed-in tariffs in the terms of the government price scheme, which is in general limited to the capacity cap, or these net metering systems, which tend to balance their production and consumption with the grid. Of course, in the terms of some unbalanced production and consumption, they use grid as a temporary storage. But of course, in future, with the development of technologies and some new approaches to the market, we expect that these small scale systems will be aggregated actually in some energy communities. And yeah, to come to the end, we can say that feed-in tariffs, we know that they stimulate development of this market, but feed-in premiums are closing the gap to the electricity market, and they tend to decrease the prices for overall cost of integration of renewables. Also, the market is open to the small scale systems. They still need some guaranteed price or to be in this net metering system. But with further decrease of the cost of investment cost for these projects, they will for sure find their place on the market. Oh, I come to the end of the presentation. I would like to thank you everybody for your attention, and special thanks Matija for calling me for this presentation.
Thank you, Andro. Excellent timing. We are just in time, which is amazing. Usually it doesn't happen. So thank you for being in time. If there are any questions from whoever, then please feel free to ask. Just raise your hand or just directly join the
I have a question to Matija. I don't know if I should put now or...
Yeah, please do it now. Maybe we can skip this 5-minute break and then continue later. Please ask it.
What is not clear to me, is the auction for premium done one day before? Or so now that if you want to go the premium, you make an auction, and how many hours before you have to bid your premium price tariff?
Well, these auctions are actually they are not bidded for the during the production process, but they are bidded before plant is built actually. So they will always have this level of the premium. So they are only they do not bid as for example as suppliers bid for the on auctions when they are buying. They bid for the premium before they even build the power plant, and then that premium is guaranteed for them during the whole time of this agreement with the market operator.
Okay, because in Germany there is something similar, but not in the planning phase. You don't consider it during the planning phase. You consider it in the operative time, and it depends on, you have a bonus malus, depending if your prediction, which have been done one day before, are very good, then you receive an extra bonus, or are not so good, then you receive something like a malus. And this is something to help the system operator to better integrate the volatility from wind or from photovoltaic.
Yeah, we have also this for example for the wind projects that are connected to the grid. They pay some fee if their prediction is not in some levels of the if their production is not in some levels of what they predict to be, but this is actually not connected with the premium system, but all as said with the system for the grid operators.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Also for Ms. Poser as well. I have a question actually for how is it in Austria with this auctions and net metering? Is it of course, I mean, most probably it's introduced. However, you mentioned the feed-in tariff still and the fixed price for the next 13 years. And I also want, the second question is on aggregators, since if I understood well, your company owns quite some megawatts over there. Did you aggregate this? And can you also make these reactions to the grid operator, as Andrew just mentioned? This, can you, I don't know, turn off the whole system to react and I don't know, earn whatever money from the grid operator, or how does these things work?
Regarding the feed-in tariffs, you're right. So up to now we had the subsidy schemes of feed-in tariffs. So you had a fixed feed-in tariff for a duration over 13 years. But since I think this year with the new act, the things also changed and gave a bit more of a flexibility, also based on such auctions. But it is very new, and honestly, we personally don't know how it will really work. And regarding your second question, it is more that we are actually not owning those plants as an aggregator. So we have been more the initiator of those plants and of those, and we, let's say, the municipal projects were on municipal level. So we gave the operation of the plant, let's say, into the municipality, because this was very important to get also the trust of the citizens. So the municipal projects are owned by the municipalities, and the huge projects of some megawatts based on the rental model. Let's say we have developed, planned, and initiated those PV plants. We have secured that they get the feed-in tariff for 13 years, and then we have sold the project to our grid operator, to the Energy Burgenland, and they are operating the plant. And as I know it from the different projects, we in Austria and also we in our region are up to now not that smart and not that flexible that we are able to turn on, turn off all those plants. The larger plants that have more than, let's say, 1 megawatt have some regulation units installed. So if there are any problems in the grid, they can switch on, switch off the plants or decrease the production, but not more. And this also just for the larger plants and not for the small ones. So yeah, this is the situation.
Thank you very much. So the period in front of us will be definitely interesting in Croatia and in Austria as well, regarding these auctions and everything that has to do with it. So we can, if there are no further questions, then we can continue with Mr. Pio Lombardi and his presentation, which will be followed by the presentation of his colleague Bartolomei Arendarski, who he will show us a really nice tool that they both developed. So you can start.
Thank you, Mattia. I'm going to share the presentation. I don't think that you see, yes?
Not yet.
So it runs. Are you giving me the permission, Mattia?
Yes. But I still don't see it. Did you, if you press this Control Shift E?
Yeah, I have pressed, but that's not works.
Maybe I can do it.
It is.
Do you want me to open it? Because I have it, but then you will have to tell me each time you click.
We try again, because I have done some small change on the presentation, what I have sent you. So
I can start with this practical example.
Okay, we can do following. Maybe Bartolomeo starts the tool.
Excellent, yeah.
I send you the new version, which has some small changes, and then I will present the presentation.
Perfect. Okay, then Bartolomei, you can start with presenting the tool.
Okay, so Zdravo from my side again.
Hi.
Let's see if it works. Screen one. Hope you can see the screen now.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, so Pio will say a little bit more about the scientific background of our project, which we developed in the frame of the ERANET Smart Grid Plus initiative. It was ReGrid project, Rural Intelligent Grid, and there were developed methods for optimal planning of the net zero energy village. And we make some real implementations in Germany and in Poland. In this case, you see here the city of Puńsk, which is in the eastern northern part of Poland. This is a very green and touristic region, and also very agricultural region. They're facing some problems with the quality and stability of the energy supply in the bad weather conditions. So you have this indices for the reliability of the power system. So that's why they are aiming to increase their own generation from renewables. Of course, in the such investment or such a project, the most important is the technical issues, but also the economic and the acceptance issue has to be addressed. So you can see here we develop like a 3D virtual reality planning tool where we build the whole city of Puńsk with the several levels of details. You can see there are some buildings in the LOD2 and some of them are in the LOD3, like for example this church, very old church. This is more important in order to see the visibility effects of the new infrastructures. The practical implementation of the project took place actually here. There was a microgrid built in the sewage treatment plant. So they already have the PV photovoltaic panels which support this plant. However, we were able to install the storage. There was already the diesel generator as a reserve unit and the whole control and monitoring system. The company from Białystok, Electrum, developed the EMAX. It's an energy monitoring and control system, and we were able to run this small microgrid even on the island mode, also on the synchronized mode to the grid. And we test several use cases and scenarios how to optimally integrate the renewables in order to support the process. But in this case here, the issue is more related to the planning of the new components of such a microgrid. So we start with the small, simple use cases, like for example, PV planning. So there are the PVs which are already installed or which are going to be installed pretty soon in Puńsk. So the small PV plants on the buildings of school and of the cultural house. You can see them. We connect this tool actually with the other tool, which is making the economical calculation of such investment. So you can see here, there's like an interactive tool, technology, solar. You have the levelized unit. You have some parameters which are calculated there. So we took the investment costs which are related to this region. We took also some weather conditions which are related to this region. So you can calculate the let's say the business model for this kind of investment, but also you can calculate, for example, like what kind of the environmental impact will these investments bring you. So how much, for example, emissions you can reduce, or even up to the job creation calculation. So if you install many PVs and many wind farms in this region, they need to have a service teams and so on. So maybe you will even create the jobs in the region, and you will keep the young people in the region. We cooperate very close with the city of Dadersheim, which is located not far from Magdeburg in the Harz region, and they are called City of Renewable Energies. So they have already a lot of PV and wind. So they are in many days in the year, they are 100% renewable and even exporting a lot to the neighbor regions. So that's why this good, let's say, experience and knowledge we were trying to transfer and try in the other regions. Okay, let me show you some more planning scenarios. So we also plan some small wind turbines directly inside the city. So vertical and horizontal wind turbines of 10 kilowatt installed power. we were making some tests for sounds effects of this wind turbines. You can see here different also types of wind turbines which can be tested. This is the interactive tool, as I mentioned it. So you can see here that we are able to make some measurements, for example, like a distance measurement in order to have a discussion with the people, which they said, okay, this windmill is too close to my property, I don't like it, or I'm afraid about it. So we can visualize this. We can also make some visibility tests in order to see if this wind turbine, for example, will be seen from my garden. So you can see this is not the case. We have therefore some kind of tool developed, so we can make a visibility test for the all components in the area. So there are some overhead lines of low voltage overhead lines and medium voltage overhead lines, which are then installed. So you can make some visibility tests for that. But you can also make some visibility tests for the individuals. Let's see that you are interested from this garden. I will have some visibility, so you can see this is not visible from the, let's say, perspective of 1.80 m. But if I, for example, move closer to the infrastructure, for example, here, then I will see this electrical infrastructure, and then there's a point for discussion if it's okay for me, or if I have something against that, and I can let's say improve the scenario. Let's see some other scenarios of planning. So we have also, in order to connect all those renewables and create like a microgrid, we also have some additional transformer substations. We have also some storage and reciprocating engine installed in order to operate in the technical mode. Furthermore, we have PO will give a background for that, some very futuristic scenarios. So 2050 for Punsk, a so-called net zero CO2 village. So therefore we will need a bigger plant, like a 1.4 megawatt PV plant and another one of 600 kilowatt. 2 windmills, altogether 5.2 megawatt. There's some back here. So in this case, we will be able, let's say, to cover the load of this of the city. However, not in the continuously. Of course, we will still need to be fit from the grid. However, in the balancing way during the year. You can see some calculations here. So as you can see, we have here the possibility to create, let's say, the visual scenario of the upcoming infrastructure, electrical infrastructure. Also, we consider some thermal issues, also mobility, electric vehicles. You can incorporate here the location of the charging station and so on, in order to simulate this kind of scenario and to let's say to test the acceptance of the inhabitants for the upcoming infrastructure. I will show you some how it works in the way of interactive action. We can put here, let's say, like a big windmill. Let's say this kind of, for example, and you can see this is for sure too close and this is too massive. So if you will imagine that if you will live in this house, what will be the impact of this windmill on you? So it will be dramatic. That's why probably it will not be accepted. So that's why let's move this windmill a little farther. Let's show us some example of interactivity of this tool. So let's build some overhead line of the higher voltage level. Very quickly, so I can show you this is not only for the, let's say, for the decision makers or investors in the region, but also could be also for some technicians as a support or in order to make some plannings. So we were trying to incorporate many functions as possible in this tool. So you see there are 2 towers. Then we can choose the towers in order to in order to wire the towers, for example, 2 strings, isolator, let's say. Yes, and then let's see how it's gonna look in the practice. So of course this needs some time. So it's, let's say, normally the engineers, they are doing it before they, let's say, go to discuss the concept with the interested or the parties involved. So you can see we have now these lines. You can see interactively that when we make some for example discussion, if it's going to be visible from this house, which is obvious that it's going to be visible, we can make this visibility test again. So you see this, all these components are visible from this, in this case, but we can make some, of course, we can, let's say, test several variants. We can move this this tower a little bit farther, and so on and so on. We can also put some vegetations here, some trees and so on, in order to make this, let's say, the power line not visible. And this allows us, let's say, to first to evaluate the technical scenario from the other perspective, so from the acceptance perspective, or also from the economic perspective. As you can see, that we connect this with some calculations tools for the economic business model calculation, and let's say we are able to incorporate these functions in the other region interested. Several other, let's say, components can be installed here. So we have like a library of the several components which can be installed here and tested if they fit to the infrastructure, and give the feedback to the investors, to the technicians, to the citizens, and to the parties involved. Okay, so I will now move back to Pio. I hope that the connection will work, that he can share the screen. And if you will have any questions, we will be happy to answer them on the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Bartolome. Maybe Pio, can you test it one more time? If it doesn't work, then I will do it.
It does not work. It does not work. I don't know why. Please.
Let's. I will share it. Just a second to find the right presentation, because now I don't see it as well. Maybe there are some questions for Bartolome until I start the. Okay, should work now. Number 3. So this should be the one.
Yes.
It's full screen.
So thank you, Mattia, that you can solve the problem. I don't know why, but it does not work from my laptop.
Yeah.
So this part is an introduction on what Bartolomeo has showed before. Namely, we have done a European project in which we have developed a tool, a digital tool for planning residential infrastructures from all point of view which concern with energy. Therefore, we have a multi-criteria planning, which means that we have considered the technical aspects, the ecological aspect, the social aspect, and the environment aspect. So that tool, we have done different scenarios. What I'm going to show you is the scenario for the village of Punsk, which is situated in Poland, near Belarus. And it is a village about 1,000 persons, if I well remember, so very small. For that, we have considered the scenario 2050. Thank you, Mattia. So before that, we talk about the simulation that we have performed. I want to introduce you some more information. If you go to the slide number 3. So as you see in here, in the last years, on the picture on the left, you will see that the urbanization rate is increased. And the trend is also so predict that that rate will increase in the coming years. And as you see on the orange line, the energy consumed in urban area is also very relevant. So by 2014, 65% of the primary energy was consumed in urban area. If you look on the picture on the right part, you see that the distribution of energy consumption changed from region to region, from city to city, and you see that there are cities like Bangkok, for example, in which most of energy is consumed for transportation. It is a mega city, so a lot of people live in this city. There are other cities like Berlin, in which the energy for building, mostly for heating the building, is the most relevant demanding energy. If you go to the slide number 4, there are some prediction for 2030. These prediction have been done from the IRENA. I know that maybe you know the agency IRENA. They've seen that they've compared different cities' infrastructures located in hot climates and in cold climates, classified as developing city, established city, classified further in low population density and high population density. So you see that there are 4 energy demands depicted in different colors, so heat, cooling, electricity, and transportation. For example, for the cold climate regions, you see that the energy for heating is the most relevant energy consumption, which accounts about 90% of consumption. For high density, populated density, the transportation also impacts on the final consumption. It is also for hot climate, and in which you see that for hot climate, the energy for heating is very marginal. In that case, the energy for cooling is more relevant. So this is just depicts how is the energy distributed depending on where your city or village is located. Can you go to the slide 5, please? So what we have done, we have developed an holistic approach, on a holistic methodology, aiming to plan the urban infrastructure of the future, we think. So you know that in the future we will produce most of our energy in form of electricity. So and the idea is to electrify what today is not yet electrified, which means to electrify the heating sector, to electrify the mobility sector, and so on. So we have generation of electricity, which is done in alternative volatile way, and we want to supply using renewables like wind, like photovoltaic, all the energy consumption in the urban system. Of course, for doing that, you have to have an holistic approach. You have to consider a multi-energy system, because the electricity will be converted in other energy forms like mobility, like light, like heat, like cooling. And this is the background that is inside the tool that before Bartolomeo has presented. And from the technical point of view, we try to do it in form of a microgrid system, so a multi-energy microgrid system, which also contributes to improve the resilience in case of blackouts or in case of natural events, improve the resilience of the system. To the slide 6, please. So in order to do that, as first step, we have evaluated the energy demanded from the building, both in the electric form as well as in a thermal form. To do that, we consider the building geometry and the building typology. It depends if the building is for a school, is for a house, or is for, I don't know, a hospital, restaurant, and so on. After that, all the buildings that we have modeled, they have also future modeled concerning the insulation property and concerning the specific consumption of electricity. There are some standard value which depict how much electricity can be expected to be consumed if the building works as hospital, if the building works as I don't know, research center. Of course, the standard or the statistical way may be used if you don't have metered data. In case you have metered data, then you can use better data for modeling your system. Then, of course, we have to consider the weather conditions, which affect mostly on the thermal load, and we need to consider also how many persons live in the building or work in the building. So using all these inputs, the tool that we have developed allows to perform the calculation of thermal energy and electric energy. Can you go to the slide number 7? So we have done it using a dynamic tool, mostly, namely, a library developed on the software in the software Green City Simulation X. You see here a screenshot of the model on a part of the model in which it is depicted the houses, so the residential system, the network, the generation system, photovoltaic and wind turbines. We have also a storage system. We have in some part, I cannot move the mouse, but on the left bottom, there's a triangle. You see that is the representation, yes, the representation of the mobility we have done using a matrix. And the blue line, it depicts the heating, district heating system. So on the top of the picture. So we have done here three sectors, heating, electric, and transportation. And for that, we have all these objects have been modeled and parameterized. Can you go to the slide number 8? So, as I said before, we have evaluated the scenario of Punsk 2050 as net zero energy system, which in this case means that the energy for heating, for electric, and for transportation that Punsk will consume by 2050 should be locally generated using renewable energy forms, mostly wind turbine and photovoltaic, using the technology of wind turbine and photovoltaic. So this is a diagram what is the Punsk 2050. Can you go to the slide number 9, please? So the village today has 2 schools, education buildings, 2050 residential buildings, 9 farms, and 2 offices. You see the annual specific electric consume, which comes from statistical data. I repeat, so we could not meter. But we got feedback there. This specific consumption is quite good as assumption, and we have also given the number of persons which lives in the building, the average number. Then on the right part, you see a simulative electric consumption for supplying 17 electric cars. So together with the Punsk population, we're supposed to have that in 2050 we have 17 electric cars, and for that we have done a simulation of how much the power that will be consumed. On the next slide, you will see how the thermal demand will be supplied. We're supposed to supply the thermal energy using heat pumps and air to water heat pumps you see in the table the characteristic of the considered heat pump. Since it is an air to water heat pumps, it's very important the air temperature that in which the heat pump works. And for the Punsk climate conditions, you see that the temperature are not so like very warm. So we have a minimal temperature about -20 and a high temperature about 29.9 Celsius degree, with an average of 7.2 Celsius degree. Considering this condition, which are metered data, we have performed the COP, which is the coefficient of performance of the this model of heat pump. You see that in that case the COP works with an average value of about 3.5, which means that you need 1 kilowatt-hour for producing 3.5 kilowatt-hour of heat at loft enthalpy, as you see on the table on the left, which is enough to supply the heating district which we have considered. If you go on the next slide, and then we have analyzed how the energy demanded is distributed during the year. And of course, you see that during the winter time, the energy consumed is higher than in the summertime. And you see that the heat demand contributes is the most contributed or demanded energy for the village. On the table on the right, you see what we have calculated as number, and how much power we need to consider that the system will demand. So for the residential sector, it will be about 1.2 megawatt. For the thermal sector, 2.8 megawatt electric, because it is a heat pump, and for transportation about 460 kilowatt. If you go to the slide number 12, you will see the technical and economic indicators that we have considered to evaluate if the system works good or not. So we had the system self-consumption index and the system self-sufficiency index. These two indicators help the designer, the engineer, to understand which technology is the best one from the point of view of the system operator. I mean, the technology which allow you to have the highest system self-consumption index is the one which in which the generation and the consumption match. So higher is this index, higher is the matching point between the generation and the consumption. On the right part, you have the economical calculators like net present value, internal rate of return, and the levelized unit cost, which Bartolomeo Pazzalia has already shown. So the results are depicted in the slide number 13. You see that if we consider two technologies for electricity generation, namely wind and photovoltaic, wind is on the bottom and photovoltaic on the top of this diagram. Supposing that we want to supply the system only using photovoltaic, it means that wind turbine is 0, and photovoltaic we need to install about 11 megawatt of photovoltaic. Using only photovoltaic, the matching between generation and demand will be something like 7%. So the self-sufficiency consumption index is 7%. It means that you need to store 93% of energy that you are generating using heat storage system maybe, or using battery, and this part of energy should be supplied when the system is demanding. If you increase the generation of wind turbine, supposing that now you want to have wind turbine, so it is enough to have 5 megawatt and about, maybe I have, okay, 5 megawatt and about 2 megawatt of photovoltaic. For this combination, you supply the generation of the pulse, and you have a matching effect about 20%. which is the highest value that we can reach with this climate condition in Punsk. So if we want to have only wind turbine and zero photovoltaic, we need about something like 7 megawatt of wind turbine. And in that case, the matching point is something like 16%. So once that we have understood that this is very important to say when and how much power or energy can be matched from the system, we can go further and we can evaluate, if you go to the slide number 14, the economic index. And the economic index says that how the variation of photovoltaic. So supposing that we want to produce our generation only from using photovoltaic, and you see on this table left, photovoltaic is 10,000, so 10 megawatt and 850 kilowatt, zero wind. For that case, the generation cost, so blue are 128 euro per megawatt hour. We have a net present value which is positive, and we have also an internal rate of return about 5%. Decreasing the photovoltaic and increasing wind, we have that the best one from the economic point of view is only supplying the wind, using wind. So 6.4 megawatt wind, zero photovoltaic. In that case, we have the lowest generation cost, and the best internal rate of return. But as we have seen before on the slide before, it is not the best one from the system operator, because we integrate 16% of the energy, and if we add, for example, 2 megawatt of photovoltaic and 5 megawatt of wind, we integrated about 20%. So this will affect the dimension of storage system that you may need if you want to operate the Punsk as net zero. If you go on to slide number 15, which should be the last one. So we have also compared actually how much it costs, the solution, the heating solution of what we have considered. So the using a heat pump with the other heating solution. In that case, we have used German parameter, maybe in Poland, maybe cheaper or maybe higher. You see that the system that uses the heat pump with generation costs that we have seen before is expensive than the classical one. The cheapest one may be the biomass pellet, but we should say that the biomass pellet is CO2 neutral, but is not pollution neutral, because CO2, because the particulate matter are also generated. So the air quality using biomass pellet is not like the air quality if you use an heat pump. So it is cheaper, but from the ecological point of view, not the best one if you compare with the heat pump. So I think it was the last slide. Yes, and then come the tool that Bartolomeo has already shown. Sorry for the 10 minutes more that I needed to show you the presentation. I hope that you could understand, and if you have any question, I will be happy, me and Bartolomeo, to explain you.
Thank you, guys, both of you, for the interesting presentation. And maybe at the end we can ask for whether there were some questions. And now we can continue with Mr. Mateusz Kruk from Mazovia Energy Agency to present us his presentation and to see what's happening in this field in Poland.
So maybe I will share my screen. Wait a second. Do you see my screen?
Yes, it works. You can put it as a full screen, maybe.
Okay. Thank you very much. As I was introduced, my name is Mateusz Kruk, and I'm from Mazovia Energy Agency. And today I will present my presentation on cyclical promotion activities of renewable energy sources and energy efficiency. And presentation will show activities which are carried out by MAE to execute promotional activities targeted at municipalities. So as the whole expertise which MAE have in its profile and which is directed to the local entities and also, of course, for municipalities, we can divide them in 4 separate divisions. These divisions are final assistance, energy assistance, energy management, and promotion education. And today I will show you the whole scope of activities which are targeted at various target groups. Those activities brings more attention to the promotion and dissemination, promotion of pro-ecological behavior and new technologies and energy-saving approach. Of course, at the general, those promotional and educational activities are mostly executed within realization of co-finance projects. In general, these activities are obligatory and they are depend on the financial mechanism used. And mostly municipalities can budget 2,030 euros for whole promotional activities. Of course, municipalities also perform those activities on their own and without any executed project in a field of renewable energy sources or energy efficiency. So they need to finance it completely. And MAE does mostly meetings with students, with residents of these municipalities and representatives in case of projects, representatives of municipalities, of course, to showcase the complete products which generated this project. Of course, if municipality want to perform different kind of events or promotional materials that I said, MAE is capable to do so. So as part of the promotional activities, MAE provides activities which are aimed at increasing the level of knowledge, which will be properly reflected in increasing the popularity of given pro-ecological solutions. And of course, those activities are really synthetic because there is not much time to do so, and it gives a small portion of knowledge. And those activities includes educational workshops with children in primary schools, educational meeting with residents of municipalities, online lessons, and of course, if we can't do the online lessons for our own, we do the study material for teachers about these renewable energy sources, and also we do the press articles regarding those matters. And of course, for the other target groups, the given activities are mostly for those target groups, of course, children and residents of municipalities. Mostly because of the lack of the technical knowledge about this field, renewable energy sources and energy efficiency, and these promotional activities have to interest those groups and give the spark. So they could act in line with the good energy habits, have a new good behavior. So MAE also does communication activities, like I pointed out in this presentation, and these are directly prepared for some purposes, for example, for representatives of municipalities, which are for not only to promote the good examples on how to develop the project, but to show in a coherent way how to financially, technically, and formally execute the project. But this not will be the case of this presentation. I just wanted to point it out because to give a wider scope of our activities in that case. And of course, other promotional activities that MAE provides are strictly content for target groups, which already know the specifics of renewable energy sources, and they are already developing those projects and are interested in developed activities already to get more information about it. And those activities are general, more like material brochures, and I named it information material, which regards on financing, the renewable energy sources and energy efficiency. And of course, in our history of MAE, we also do the publications about other parts of developing the project, not only the financial part, but also technical. And about all of this pointed out actions or activities, I will talk in the next slides. And first of all, will be additional workshops in primary schools, and this is the activity which in general have to showcase the benefits of implemented projects and solutions for single households. So the children will be in touch with those, can be in touch with those solutions in the future. And we also like to install energy saving solutions, and we want to carry out during these meetings that we would like to talk with the participants, so to ask the questions about the whole scope of the meeting. And during these activities, solutions that have been carried out in the buildings in the municipality are provided to younger people, along with the indication on what energy and cost saving can bring in a reference matter tailored to the recipients. For example, how much energy was generated from every PV installation, and to show them how much is it. We talk to them how many times you can charge a laptop. And during these meetings, we also present what renewable energy sources exist and present them in the terms of their use in the households. For example, PV panels, solar collectors, biomass boilers, maybe heat pumps, but it's the lower case. We present what energy efficiency steps children or their parents can take, and what solutions can be done, of course, by the children or their parents, like I said, and to reduce energy usage in their households. For example, lower the water usage, hot water usage, or just remember to switch the lights off. And the final element of such meetings are mostly the quiz, mostly quiz with prizes. And in those quizzes, we ask about the issues we raised at this meeting. And such events are intended both to build good behavior habits, encourage by fun activities. And we also want to do these meetings periodically, because we want to we still want that the children have in their minds those aspects. So let's go to the next slide. And on this slide, we can see the photo of audience of the children from primary school, which we did in one of the municipalities. And meeting was prepared strictly to the concept which I gave in the latter slide. And let's go to the next slide, to the next activity. And next activity, which is targeted to the resident of municipalities, is educational meetings with residents of municipalities, which also have to show the benefits of implemented projects and solutions for single households, like case of the children, but it must to mostly present that what can be executed or what have been executed in already developed projects. So the most important is to show how those installation works, how should they be maintained and operated, and as owners of the device aimed at energy production, they should be aware of what problems may arise, what is the most important during their usage, and we also encourage them to install them by indicating positive features like they are maintenance free or the economic factors, so they will not spend a lot of money for electricity costs and other benefits. The whole meeting should be done in the similar way that was, of course, which is executed with the children. And at the beginning, we have to bring. Sorry, I pushed to the latter next slide, but I will continue. At the beginning, we have to bring attention to what the advantages are of the project and show the benefits of micro installations. What is the power generation? How are the costs after install it? That also they are maintenance free, and they are really low-slanging equipment. So in the next phase, we show them how internally municipality developed the project and how can the resident execute it on their own. In this case, we give information about financing, what are the possibilities of co-financing with municipality, which is the leader of the project at this time, and technical aspects, how to technically is developed from the project to final acceptance by the, for example, supervision inspector. So the last element is the Q&A session in which we answer the questions which are asked by residents. Mostly is the questions about what to do when, for example, inverters switch off or there is no energy generation. And this questions are really simple to answer. So I put the next slide already. So I will go to this slide and the different kind of this promotional activities which my executes than the meetings which I already talked about. Are press articles which are directed to the different and the larger amount of the recipients. And Maya does articles periodically for a regional press for our own needs, so we can just show our scope of what we do and show what is the new in the energy sector. And also we do the press articles on the behalf of the municipalities, and the municipalities want to promote this renewable energy sources project, which also is obligatory by the mechanism. So articles mostly consist of synthetic information about renewable energy sources solutions, and it says about what are the solutions, what can every single householder do. So it brings more attention to the solutions. Next one is information about financing. So what is the level of co-financing depending on the financing of the project? Maybe it's conducted by municipality or carried out privately. Project in numbers information, which are statistic data included in the article in the event that if concerns the promotion of a municipal project. The next one is pro-ecological sources in Polish legislation and what should be done to be in the line with the anti-smoke legislation in Mazovia region. And this is an information on which boilers should be installed in households, eco-design and low emission content. The next one is what should be done to implement these actions, and it provides information on what to do how to get the grant, how to find a contractor, what administrative decisions are needed, and what to do to enter municipal project. And the last one is promotion of good behavior, and that is the content that highlights why the use of these renewable energy sources is important and how it affects the area of the municipality and Mazovia globally. So let's go to the next slide, and as we can see right there, there is the sample of the articles that Maya did in the case of one of Mazovia municipality, and the headlines of articles are renewable energy as the energy of the future, and the second one is renewable energy with clean and cheap energy. This article was developed to promote a renewable energy sources project executed in 4 Mazovia municipalities. So this promotional articles looks really resemble and looks in the same way like I pointed out in the latter slide. So go to the next promotional activity, which is Clean Air Congress, which is an event that is on the international level, and it's held in Warsaw and bring together all stakeholders involved in energy and air protection sector. The Congress is divided into sections, and the specialist lectures, workshops, parallel sessions, and discussions regarding anti-pollution activities with renewable energy sources and energy efficiency. During this project now is promoting best practices from past year, implement projects, investment, etc., and promotes European Union projects and initiatives. So that's all about the Clean Air Congress, and let's go to the photos from the last year event. There's a lot of people involved in organization, and lots of enterprises has own booths to promote their actions on the market. As we see, Maya also do not only took part in the event as promoter, but also contribute as a speaker doing in the main event. And of course, besides these actions and mostly press articles, Maya does information materials as a part of promotion. In those materials, we promote best practices, financing opportunities for projects related to the increasing energy efficiency and generating energy from renewable energy sources, which are distributed through the municipalities' media channels. And those promotional materials are in form of articles and press releases through the municipalities and websites. And these are the short articles which are about latest news about renewable energy sources and energy efficiency, or just activities that have been carried out by or just a given municipality. The next one is information boards placed on the project spots, which indicates the source of financing for the project. And mostly these are done for realized project purpose, to inform about financing, who was engaged in the action, and what is the whole project cost. And the last one is our leaflets, brochures, and posters to encourage the use of the public, national, and European Union funds. So these are just normal leaflets which are just given to the during the tours to the municipalities or just residents. And the last type of the promotion activities is, of course, executed by Maya, are online lessons or study materials, which in scope are similar to the educational workshops, and those activities are mostly to promoting renewable energy sources and energy efficiency, building good habits for children regarding energy savings, just like I said before, just switch off and the lights, or save the water, the hot water. And the last one is proving that green energy can be both effective and cheap. So these all presented by me activities are regularly and periodically done by MARA at regional level. Cleaner congresses on the national level, but it's one kind of our promotional activities. So we mostly do everything on the regional level. Our services are not strict, and can we also be able to adapt to the requirements of municipalities. So the promotion is often overlooked, but I think that just we have to remember it during the elaboration and execution of the project, because it's very important to be part of every project, because we can just see the not only the results of the project that we develop, but the people which see these projects, and the promotion actions will bring the new projects, etc., etc., and the whole cycle will continue of these projects and doing the new things with renewable energy sources and energy efficiency. So thank you very much for your attention. That will be all. If you have any questions, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mateusz. Are there any questions for the second part of our workshop? If there are no questions, then I would just like to, in a way, wrap up everything, and first of all say thank you to all the presenters, to everyone that shared their projects and their presentations. We heard a really interesting presentation from Ms. Andrea Moser on how things are happening actually in Austria quite rapidly. We've seen the graphs that they really boosted the PV technology in its usage in their region, which looked quite impressive, and I think, I'm sure you can be a role model also for the neighboring countries. Let's say they're close to you, and for sure we will all contact you on how you did it, to share more information, because this was super interesting. Andro, that presented this transition between the feed-in tariff system that was, let's say, more classical approach for the last 10-15 years, towards the premium model that is closer to, let's say, the market. We learned a lot, so thank you, Andro. And then the guys from Magdeburg Stendal University in Fraunhofer Institute, Pio and Bartolomei. This is, of course, I've already seen the tool, but it always impresses me. I think this is a future of energy planning. We do it very, let's say, manually through Leap or MIDE or some classical, let's say, tools, but this modern approach where you can also visualize all these things is quite impressive, and I'm sure the kids in Punsk will stay there, and the bright future is in front of them, the green zero emission future. Of course, without communication and without trainings, without education, there will be no renewables, of course, and this is what MEA, Mazovia Energy Agency, does really well, and of course this is essential for any kind of PV implementation. So thank you, everyone, and that's it for now. We will have another session next month regarding ERDF and how to use this let's say, structural funds for such investments. So that's it from my side. Thank you, guys, and I will share all the slides and all the materials online, including this recording. So thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.